Clear to everyone now? Okay. So that's how exactly the execution takes place for you behind the screen. Okay. So are you clear what is an exception and how an exception occurs? Stopping the execution of the program. Yeah. Abnormal termination means the program execution stops. Okay. So is everyone clear like what is an exception and how the abnormal termination occurs now? Okay. Now see, abnormal termination. Is it okay in your applications tomorrow if abnormal termination occurs for you in the program? Is it okay for you? No, it's not okay. Why? Array, that is dangerous, yeah. Abnormal termination is a dangerous issue. See, suppose you're developing a ATM application. There is an ATM application. In that, there is a funds transfer operation, guys. In that, there is a funds transfer operation. The funds transfer operation basically involves in two things, two steps. What are the two? The basic two things. The two things that it is going to be responsible is, it has to do is one. The first one is, yeah, the two things it has to be responsible is, first it has to deduct the amount from the source account and add that amount to the target account. First, it has to deduct the amount from the source account and add it to the target account. These are the two things it has to do. Are you clear? So these are the two things what it has to do. It has to deduct the amount from the source and add it to the destination. Clear? Now, how dangerous is abnormal termination? Understand. What happened, in this process, first, these two statements has to be executed. First statement executed, the money was deducted from your account. First statement executed and the money was deducted from your account. Okay. First statement executed and the money is deducted from your particular account. So now the second statement has to execute. Are you guys clear? The second statement has to execute and add the money to the target account. So what happened now, after executing the first statement, abnormal termination occurred. After executing the first statement, abnormal termination occurred. Means the money is deducted from your account, but the money is not added to the target account. What happens here? Tell me. First statement executed, and before executing the second statement, abnormal termination occurred. What will happen? You lose 50,000 now. You lose the money now. Sorry, you lose the money. Suppose you're just trying to transfer some 50,000 rupees now from your account to some other account. You lose that money because the money is deducted but not added to the target. Okay. So um, that is the key point, what you just require to understand here. Okay. So that's going to happen. You're going to lose the appropriate money. You're going to lose the money. So, so now tell me, is abnormal termination dangerous? So that's what. So do you want to control it? So this has to be controlled. How to control abnormal termination? How to control the abnormal termination? You can control the abnormal termination by using exception handling. Guys, have a look. Exception handling. What is exception handling? This is a process of stopping the abnormal termination of a program. This is a process of stopping the abnormal termination of a program whenever a runtime error occurs. Guys, all of you read this. Read this. Are you guys clear? So what is the advantage of handling exception? The advantage of handling exception is we have the following advantages of handling an exception. We have the following advantages by handling an exception. What are the advantages? First one, abnormal termination stops. So that statements that are not related with the error can still be executed. Guys, listen. Abnormal termination will stop here. When abnormal termination stops, the statements which are not related with the error can be executed. See, yesterday I said you one point. There is a code of 1,000 lines. There is an error on line number 100. The remaining 900 lines of code will stop the execution. Even if they are not related with the error also, they will stop execution. By handling an exception, you can execute them now. Second, we can display user-friendly error messages in place of predefined error messages. We can display user-friendly error messages in place of predefined error messages. Actually, guys, predefined error messages are designed targeting a developer. Predefined error messages are designed targeting a developer. So end user may not understand those messages. I repeat, predefined error messages are designed targeting the developer. So end user may not understand those messages. So what you're going to do now, you will be hiding those predefined messages and you can display user-friendly messages to user. You can hide those predefined messages and display user-friendly messages to the user. Are you guys clear? Third one, we can perform corrective actions if required to fix the problems that are going to come due to the runtime error. What is it? You can do any corrective actions, guys. Suppose, see, the money was deducted from the source account. The money was deducted from the source account. But before adding to the destination account, abnormal termination occurred. Abnormal termination occurred. So if I can handle that, what I can do, I can roll back the transaction. I can roll back the transaction. Once I roll back the transaction, the money which is deducted from the source will automatically add back to the source again now. If the transaction rolled back, automatically the money will come and add into your account now. Did you understand me? Money deducted here was not able to add to the target. When it was not able to add to the target, roll back the transaction. When you roll back the transaction, immediately the money is added to your account. I'll tell you an example. See, in real time, guys, if you just watch it, anytime you're trying to withdraw money from your ATM, okay? Now tell me, when you're trying to withdraw money from ATM, there are two actions going to be performed. One, releasing the money from the machine, and two, updating your database, updating the values in the database, releasing the money from the machine, and the second thing is updating the value in the database. These are the two things that has to be performed. Are you guys clear? Okay. Now tell me, first it will update the database or release the money. First it will update the database or release the money. First it will update the database, guys. Afterwards, release the money. Just a minute, guys. Just a okay, guys. Now, so if you just understand this one, if you just understand this, see, first it will update the database. Why it will update the database? The reason why it is going to update the database first is, the reason why the database gets updated first is, see, after updating the database for any reason, if it could not release the money, after updating the database for any reason, if it could not release the money, okay, understand? After updating the database for any reason, if it could not release the money, okay, what happens, guys? Immediately, the transaction gets rolled back. The transaction gets rolled back, and you notice it. You will get a message back. The money has been added to your account again. First you receive a message here. What is it? The money got deducted from you. The money. First you will receive the appropriate message. Okay, what is that? The money was deducted from your account. But unfortunately, the machine is not able to release the money. The machine is not able to release the money. When the machine is not able to release the money, immediately a rollback is happened and your money is added back to your account. Yes or not? Okay. So a rollback takes place and the money is added back to your account again. This happens. So that's what basically That is what the third thing. Corrective action means that only. See, you're trying to transfer the money from your account to someone's account. So first the money is deducted from your account. Okay, but unfortunately, the money was not able to be added to the target. So some reason, abnormal termination occurred. So automatically transaction gets rolled back and the money will be added to your account again. Is it clear, everyone? So now read this once, all of you. Tell me if you have any doubts on it. Read that and tell me if you have any doubts on it. Is everyone clear? So this is what exactly happens to you. By handling it. But how to handle an exception? Guys, how to handle an exception? Look at this. Look at this now. Read that. How to handle an exception. All of you. To handle an exception, you require to enclose your code under two special blocks, what we call them as try-catch blocks. To handle an exception, you require to enclose your code under the two special blocks called as try-catch blocks. By putting the code under the try-catch blocks, you can handle the exception. Okay? So try and catch, these are two different blocks of code under which you're just going to put your code. By putting the code inside of the try-catch blocks, you can handle the exceptions basically. Okay, let's understand. Let's just understand with an example. Let's understand with an example, guys. I'm adding a class in the project. Exception demo.cs. Okay, guys. Simple code, nothing to explain. Reading two numbers from the user, reading two numbers from the user, performing a division, and then I'm writing the result of the division is, and then console.write line, end of the program. Are you clear, guys? Simple code, a program to divide two numbers, nothing special about it. Run the code. Hundred five. Notice the result of the division, end of the program. Everything is perfect. But now I'm trying to run the program again. I'm giving 100, and in the place of the second, I'm giving a number by 0. I'm giving the number as 0. And remember, guys, you cannot divide a number by 0. You cannot divide a number by 0, right? See now, if I try to divide a number by 0, see now, exception got occurred in the code. And this exception caused an abnormal termination. This exception caused an abnormal termination. And this abnormal termination did not allow this statement to execute the code, even if it is nowhere related with the error. Got, guys? It did not allow to execute this particular statement. Which statement? End of the program, even if that statement is nowhere related with the error. Is the statement related with the error? That is not at all related with the error. Even though that statement is not at all related with the error, that code did not execute for you. That code did not execute for you. It did not allow the code to execute now. Okay? So that's what the impact of the abnormal termination. It won't allow the code to execute. Okay, now? So that's what exactly happens to you in this particular case. It is not allowing the code to execute. Even if the code is no way related with the appropriate error, it's not getting executed. Okay, so that's what. So this is the impact of your abnormal termination. This is the impact of your abnormal termination. This is going to cause you the abnormal termination, and the code did not execute right now. Okay, so that's the key point here. That is the key point here. It did not allow the code to execute. So this is the danger now. This is the danger. It is causing an abnormal termination now. I hope you people are clear. So this is what I wanted to control. This is what I wanted to control basically. Okay, and to control this I wanted to put the code in the try catch block. I wanted to put the code in the try catch block. By putting the code in the try catch block, it can be controlled. By putting this code in the try catch block, this can be controlled, guys. So shall we try that? Come on. I'm not disturbing this program. I'm just going to add you one more class here. We'll name it as trycatchdemo.cs. Let me copy paste this code here. Okay. Now I'll put the code in the try catch block. Guys, have a look. If you want to write the code in the try catch block, how to write? First try, and inside of the try, you're required to write the statements which are going to cause the runtime error. You need to write the statements which are going to cause the runtime error. Are you clear? You're going to write the statements which are going to cause the runtime error. So the statements which are going to cause the runtime error should be present for you inside of the try catch block. The statements which are going to cause the runtime error should be present for you inside of the try catch block. In the try catch block, the code should be present. Okay, now? So first what you do, identify all the statements which are going to cause the runtime error. First, identify the statements which are going to cause the runtime error. Guys, can you tell me what statements here will cause a runtime error? What statements here will cause the runtime error? No. See, if you look at this, this can cause you an error. 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 Error can come here also. Yeah, error can come there also. What error? Watch it. I'm giving a character. I'm giving a character. Error, format exception. So now tell me what statements can cause the error? Second line, fourth line, fifth line. Okay. What about the sixth and seventh lines, guys? Sixth line. Will the sixth line cause any error? So sixth line, seventh line, these two lines will not cause any error. Okay, now? 6 and 7 will not cause you any error. There is no chance of getting any error in the 6th and the 7th lines. Okay, so what to do? I want to put these particular statements. What statements? This one in the try block. So let me start with the try here. Let me start with the try here and putting the code in the try block. Putting the code in the try block now. What next? The next thing, guys. Statements which doesn't require execution when runtime error occurred. Guys, when an error occurred, we may want some statements not to execute. When the error occurs, you may want some statements not to execute. Are you getting my point here? When the error occurs, we may want some statements not to execute. I want some statements not to execute here. Okay? What statements you don't want to execute when the error occurred? Listen. What statements I don't want to execute when the error occurred? When the error occurred, do you want this statement to execute? Tell me, guys, when the error occurred, do you want that statement to execute? No, I don't want the statement to execute. Why? When there is an error, there's no point of just executing that particular statement now. So when an error occurred, I don't want that status. So this also should be in the try block now. This also should go to the try blocker. Now tell me, when the error occurred, do you want this statement to execute? When the error occurred, do you want this statement to execute? Why no, yaar? Why this is not related with error now? Why are you telling no? Yes, I want this statement to execute. Why? Because this is nowhere related with the error, yaar. This is nowhere related with the error. So even though when the error occurs, I want this statement to execute. Okay, so that will not go to the try block now. Okay, then leave. Next, what? Catch. The next thing what comes is catch. Catch. Here you require to specify the name of the exception class you wanted to handle. The name of the exception class you just wanted to handle. Okay, you require to specify the name of the exception class you just wanted to handle now. Whatever is the class name, you just require to handle. I wanted to handle the divide by zero exception. The divide by zero exception. Okay, afterwards you require to specify a variable. Afterwards, you just require to specify a variable, and that is optional, but let me specify EX. EX. And what are you going to write in this? What you'll be writing? Statements which require to be executed only when the runtime error occurs. Statements which should be executing only when the runtime error occurs. Like what statements? Just guys, what statements? One, displaying of error messages. Statements to display the error messages, guys. What statements? Statements to display the error messages should be present here. Second thing, I said, corrective actions like rollbacks. Corrective actions like rollbacks. Corrective actions like rollbacks. Are you clear, guys? So corrective actions like rollbacks, you can just go for implementing in the appropriate list. Okay, so that's what. That's what. So you can just write the code there. So right now I don't have any rollbacks or anything like that. So what I want to do is I want to display a error message. Why? I already said you. Predefined error messages are designed targeting the developer. So targeting the end user, you require to give your own error messages. Watch now. Console.writeLine. Console.writeLine. Okay. See, guys, understand. If you want to display predefined error message also only now also. If you want to display predefined error message only now also, ex.message. Why to write, sir, predefined error message will be printed? No, it won't print. Why? I'm handling the exception now. Because I'm handling the exception, predefined error messages won't be printed now. Guys, because I'm handling the exception, predefined error messages won't be printed now. It won't print you the predefined error messages now. So if you want that predefined error messages to be printed, you're required to say ex.message. Okay. No, you want to display your own error message without writing ex.message, write your own error message there. Write your own error message in that particular place. That is your choice, what you wanted to write. So like this, we can just go for writing the code. Okay. Now guys, observe what is going to happen. Run the code. Okay. I'm giving 100, I'm giving 5. Nothing difference. Result is printed. End of the program is printed. Okay. Now I'm giving 100. I'm giving 0. Will I get an error? Will I get a runtime error or not? Yes. Why no? Yeah. Yes. We get a runtime error. We are going to get a runtime error. On which line? On this line. We get a runtime error on this particular line. Are you clear? So now also exception manager comes into picture. Now also exception manager comes into picture, guys. Now also this happens. Okay. Now also exception manager identifies the error. Now also exception manager identifies the error. What is the error? Divide by 0. Divide by 0 exception. Now also exception manager will create the instance of that class. Now also exception manager will create the instance of that particular class. All these three things will happen now also. All these three things will happen now also. Identifying, creating the instance, all these particular things. Okay. Now, already explained you in this particular code, remember? Already explained you in this. What will happen whenever there is an error? Exception manager comes into picture, creates the instance and throws that instance. Creates the instance and throws the instance. And the instance which is thrown by the exception manager, what will it do? The instance which is thrown by the exception manager, what will it do? Abnormal termination. Okay, abnormal termination. Okay, now guys, listen. There is a glass window, guys. There is a glass window. And I have a cricket ball in my hands. I have a cricket ball in my hands. And now I'm throwing that particular ball. I'm throwing that particular ball with full force on the window. I am throwing that particular ball with full force on the window. Guys, I'm throwing that ball with full force on the window. If I throw that particular ball with full force on the window, what will happen? Once the ball goes and hits the glass, automatically what will happen here? Glass breaks. Means destruction. The glass breaks, destruction. Okay. Already we saw here. What is that? Exception manager is throwing the instance of the exception, and that is going to perform a destruction. Now come back here. Now come back to this code now. Now also, exception manager will create the instance of the class. And now also exception manager throws that instance. Now also exception manager will create the instance, and now also exception manager will throw the instance. All these things are common now also. Okay. But tell me guys, you see, when the glass, when a cricket ball is thrown on the glass breaks, right? But before the ball hits the glass, someone caught the ball. Before the ball hits the glass, someone caught the ball. Okay, someone caught the ball. Will the glass break? No, the glass will not break now, right? Exactly. Now also same thing here. Now also exception manager will throw the instance of the exception class, guys. But what is happening, you know? This catch block will catch that object. With this catch block will catch that object. See, what is that? The ball is caught by someone. Exactly. The catch block is caught by the object is caught by the catch block. After catching that object is stored in EX. After catching that object is stored in EX. And guys, you know now, all of you know now, the object of a class can be stored in the variable of the same class. The object of a class can be stored in the variable of the same class now. So that object is assigned to EX. And now EX becomes a reference. EX becomes a reference. Reference of which class? Reference of which class? Divide by 0 exception only. Same class only. And now remember, yaar, in that class, you have a property called message. Yesterday we learnt now. in that class, we have a property called message. Yesterday we learned. So when you call ex.message, automatically that message will be printed, and see there, abnormal termination did not occur. Watch it, abnormal termination did not occur. What it happened? It showed you attempted to divide by 0, end of the program. This attempted to divide by 0 is a predefined error message. The attempted to divide by 0 is the predefined error message. Guys, observe. Now come back here and run the previous program, guys. Previous program. Okay. Now when you run the previous program, when you give 100 and 0, abnormal termination occurred and displaying you attempted to divide by 0. And see, end of the program statement did not print now. End of the program statement did not print. Why? Because there is an abnormal termination. But when you come to the current code, now, okay, when you come to the new program now, I'm giving 100, I'm giving 0. But see, abnormal termination did not occur. It printed you attempted to divide by 0 and then end of the program. Why? Because the catch block caught the exception. The catch block caught the exception and did not allow the exception to occur. Guys, understood? Are you clear? Okay, so that's the key point here. Array, wait here, wait. Okay, so right now, the catch block has caught the exception. Right now, the catch block has caught the exception now. Abnormal termination stopped and abnormal termination did not occur. Okay, now yeah, we are giving predefined error message. No, I don't want to give a predefined error message. I want to give my own error message. Yeah, you can give your own error message, guys. You can give your own error message. No props. How to give my own error message? If at all you want to give your own error message, okay, write your message here. What? Divisor value cannot be 0. Are you clear? Divisor value cannot be 0. Are you guys clear? So what is it telling you? Divisor value cannot be 0. Okay, so it is telling you you cannot have the divisor value as a 0 now. Why? Because I'm giving an exception message on my own now, and I'm just telling the divisor value cannot be 0 in this case now. So now see, ex is showing a warning here. Why? Array, see that here the variable ex is declared but never used. You did not use that ex anywhere. So that's why I said you do optional. Even though you don't use this also, no problem. Even though you don't use this also, no problem. Now run the code. See, 100 and 0. It is printing you divisor value cannot be 0. I can give my own error message. Understood all of you? Okay. Now Now, I'm just going to run the program again. I'm going to run the program again. I'm giving 100 and I'm giving y. I'm giving y here. I'm giving y here. Now I'll get an exception. What exception comes now? What exception comes now? Format exception. So the exception that is going to occur now is format exception. But we have written the code for handling what? We have written the code for handling what? Divide by 0. We have written the code for handling divide by 0. But the exception that got occurred here is format exception. So what will happen now? Abnormal termination will happen. Abnormal termination will happen now. Now the doubt arises, can we handle only one exception? Or if I can handle only one exception, this is useless. Can I handle only one exception here? Okay, that's the big confusion in your minds now. No, you can handle multiple exceptions. How? By writing multiple catch blocks. By writing multiple catch blocks here. Hundred, 0. Divisor value cannot be 0. 100, y. Input values must be integers only. Input values must be integers only. Are you clear? So basically, we can add any number of catch blocks here. You just watch the syntax. It is telling you try catch multiple catch blocks if required. You can go for using multiple catch blocks if you're that are required. Now see guys, now we have a small problem now. What is the problem? I identified 10 exceptions that occur in this code now. Okay. I just identified 10 exceptions in the code. And I added catch blocks for handling all the 10 exceptions. Are you clear, guys? I identified 10 exceptions in my code and I added the catch blocks to handle all the 10 exceptions now. But is there any guarantee that you will not be getting 11th exception? Is there any guarantee you will not be getting 11th exception? So tomorrow I installed the application on the client system. The application went off to production. After going to production, there's a chance of getting a 11th exception now, abnormal termination. So once the application goes to production, exception should not occur again. Okay? How to resolve it, you know? In the bottom right, catch exception. This is something like this here. This catch block is something like this. What is it? You have a if and multiple else ifs. You have a if and multiple else ifs. Okay, multiple else ifs are there. You're just going to have multiple else ifs there. Okay, guys, you have an if and there are multiple else ifs over there. Multiple else ifs are going to be present. Now, if you just understand my point here, even though you have multiple else ifs, there is a chance to escape from the else ifs. There is a chance of escaping from the else ifs. But in the last, if you write the else, Can anyone escape from the else? Are you writing else if conditions here? N number of else if conditions you're writing. Or even though you write n number of else if condition, chance is there to escape from that. But in the last we write else. Can anyone escape from else? Can anyone escape from default in a switch case? No one can escape from the else in a if condition and the default in a switch case. Am I right? So this is also exactly same. If these catch blocks cannot catch that, if these catch blocks cannot catch, this catch block will catch. How is it possible? Because exception is a parent. And you already know, child class instance can be assigned to a parent class variable. Child class instance can be assigned to a parent class variable, yes or not? Understood me? So you cannot escape from this. You cannot escape from this particular thing right now. Why you cannot escape? Because why you cannot escape? Um, so why you cannot escape this? Why you cannot escape this? Because very simple, clear, guys. Why you cannot escape from this particular thing means so already we learned it. A child class instance can always be assigned to a parent class variable. A child class instance can always be assigned to a parent class variable. So when we learned about that in the inheritance classes, so many of you asked you, what is the use of it, sir? So many of you asked this particular question, what is the use of it? Understand now, you will understand what is the use of it. You will understand now what is the use of it. Because of that feature, I am able to catch any exception here. And now you'll have a doubt now. Sir, can the last catch block catch all the exceptions? Yes, it can. Can the last catch block catch all the exceptions? Yes, it can. If it can catch all the exceptions, what is the need of these catch blocks again? Can anyone answer this question? If the last catch block can handle all the exception, what is the need of writing? What specific to the error? What you want to say? Yeah. See, even though the last catch block can handle all the exceptions, you cannot perform actions specific to an error. You cannot perform actions specific to the error. By having separate catch blocks, am I able to customize the error message? I'm able to customize the error message, yeah? If I have only last catch block, how can I display a customized error message now? Are you guys clear? Can I display a customized error message now? No. That is why. It's not only about error message here. It's not only about error message. Tomorrow, if I divide by 0 error occurred, I want to do something. If a divide formatter occurred, I want to do something. I want to do different actions. When I want to do different actions, we have separate catch blocks like this. Okay? And here see, I cannot go for a customized message. I can only say ex.message and print you the predefined error message there. Are you guys clear? Watch now. I'm giving 100, I'm giving 0. The first catch block will catch it. I'm giving 100, I'm giving Y. The second catch block will catch it. Format exception. Guys, see now, I'm giving 100 and I'm giving, do you have an overflow exception catch block? Do you have an overflow exception catch block? No, because it is not there, the last catch block is going to handle that. The last catch block is going to handle that and printed you the predefined error message of the things now. The predefined error message is printed. Guys, are you clear how to handle an exception? Are you clear how to handle an exception? Okay. If you're clear, now the important thing what we require to learn is, all of you read this. How do the code execute when it is enclosed under try and catch blocks? How do the code execute when it is enclosed under try and catch blocks? All of you read it first. Read it. I will explain you. Read it. Did you people understand, guys? Listen. If all the statements under try are executed successfully, guys, answer this question. If all the statements of try are executed successfully, what is the meaning, guys? If all the statements are executed successfully, what is the meaning? There is no exception in the code. If there is no exception in the code, listen, if there is no exception in the code, from the last statement of the try, the control directly jumps to the first statement which is present after all the catch blocks. Where it jumps, guys? Where it jumps? From the last statement of try, control jumps to wrong. What I'm telling and what are you telling? The first statement which is present after all the catch blocks. The first statement which is present after all the catch. Today, I have only one statement here. Tomorrow I'll have 10 statements. Don't say last statement. Last statement means end of the last line. It will jump to the first statement which is present after all the catch blocks. Are you clear? Read it again. Read it again. That is no exception scenario. Are you guys clear? This is a no exception scenario. You can watch. Watch. Any error? What is the last statement of try? Result. The last statement of try is result, right? Result. And from there, the control jumps directly to the first statement after all the catch blocks. And